Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey guys!
My name is Carrie. This is Princess right here. This is our first official video, so be easy on us. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about my hometown, a topic of conversation in our household a lot, which is Detroit. I was born and reared there for the first 18 years of my life. And we've been getting a lot of disturbing information from the ground there. Recently, we just had a lot of reports we've been looking at on YouTube, on World Star, on Fox 2 News channels, Action 7, ABC News channel. I'm going to let Princess talk a little bit more about that.
Okay guys, basically we've been hearing a lot about burglaries and just a lot of violence and just a lot of unsettling issues within the community in Detroit. And basically we were very, very disturbed, and I'm still just like, I can't believe like the stuff that I'm hearing.
Well, where did it all originate from? What was the first thing that really got us worried when we originally heard about what was going on?
The first thing that comes to mind is basically us visiting your parents and your grandma telling us about the break-in that she had, basically, and the lack of police involvement in the area. Like, they close at 4 o'clock, so if you have like a break-in after 4, you're pretty much on your own. And she basically pays for
let me say this.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, let me backtrack a little bit. So in Detroit, they have a new policy. So if it's not a life-threatening situation, that the police station actually closes at 4:30. So if you go there, if somebody breaks inside your car, somebody steals your car, you want to make a police report, if it's after 4:30, unfortunately, you have to wait till the morning.
Basically.
Which first is ridiculous.
And it says it's virtual.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that was the first funny thing. We said, like, she said, well, they have a virtual police station. I was like, well, can you report your crime online?
Or what do you do?
Or is it like a web initiated thing? It was like, well, no, there's no way to do it online. I think, we started laughing and said, well, this is just a made-up name for lack of policing.
Basically. Gym closing at 4 and you being on your own and not having any help if anything happens to you. And I mean, like, seriously, I still can't believe that this is what's going on in Detroit. Like,
okay, so let's go back to the serious task at hand. So first of all, Detroit right now, so they close at 4:30, so you can't report anything that's not life-threatening after 4:30. Which is disturbing in itself. Detroit is one of the most crime-ridden cities in America. As we say. It's been a rash of burglary. So, okay, my grandmother still lives in the city, so she had a break-in. She actually has a home security system. She goes through ADT, which is a great company. You know, everybody heard about it one time or another. So she has ADT on her home security where they have the alarm. Now, just for the Detroit area alone, they are actually offering live guard support, not police officers. They will actually send a live guard out to your house to protect your house, an armed guard, in case if somebody broke in. First of all, I was thinking, I never heard anything like that, but since I have heard something about that, now I'm thinking that it must be such a lack of police, what would you say, a lack of police initiative, a lack of police support.
I think a lack of just basic, I mean, it's almost
basic
like
justice.
I mean, it's almost like, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I live in Chicago. I couldn't imagine them telling me, like, you know what?
Hey, Princess, guess what?
You don't have.
You can have a home security system, but we actually offer an option that we send a live armed guard out just in case somebody breaks inside your house.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was what the police was for. So I'm thinking, like, well, why wouldn't you just call the police? So
the armed guard told her, like, we can't go in there because
we still
basically. Yeah, like at some point, it's like they only can do so much. They hear the people inside of your home, but they won't go in and do anything, but they're there just to protect, I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. So my grandmother came from the outside. My grandmother's an older lady, as you can imagine. She saw the armed guard out there before the police. The police was called. So the armed guard got there before the police, which is a good thing, I guess, by ADT. We want to give them credit because they actually did have an armed guard there to protect my grandmother. And then they called the police. The police never showed up. The police showed up in probably about, she said, an hour and a half, 2 hours later. Yeah. It was actually still people inside the house when my grandmother arrived at the house.
They could hear them.
So not only did my elderly grandmother and the ADT alarm guy make it before the police, the police didn't come until after they left. So the armed guard advised my grandmother not to enter the house and whatsoever. But that's not the point. I mean, I thought it was very disappointing that Detroit doesn't offer service for people breaking inside your house.
You have kids, older people who work every single day, people that, you know, if you're going to say, you know, I'm going to desert the city and I'm going to basically say I'm going to close at 4 o'clock and I'm not going to give them any help. What? The criminals in the area basically have free reign to do whatever they want to do.
Well, tell me where this whole thing sparked. Well, how did we start the conversation? It was a story on the news we read.
Yeah.
That, initiated. It was a lady. She came home. Somebody had broken inside her house. She called the police. She had her 2 kids with her.
Right.
And the 911 operator told her, "Well, we can't respond
unless you're not hurt. Nothing. No, you're not, you know, shot. So basically, go inside and let us know, you know, what's going on, and then call us back."
And the lady was literally crying and said, "I'm scared for my life.
I have kids with me, small kids with her." And basically, they still told her to go in there on her own.
Okay, so
they don't respond to anything if you're not shot.
Okay,
or hurt.
And if that all in all wasn't bad enough, we understand that cities have crime. I talked to my grandmother about, you know, just the neighborhood and some of the things she witnessed. And then we got into the conversation about the type of things people were stealing. Yeah. So, you know, of course, TVs and electronics and jewelry and money, things of that nature, which is expected.
Right.
It got to a point that it's people in Detroit that are actually stealing bars off your window. You know, the security bars that you actually put up there to protect people to get out. People found a way that you can actually make money off steal, and they start stealing bars.
Yeah, the siding on the house. Like, stuff like, I mean, like, seriously.
Can you imagine somebody stealing your security bars and taking the siding off your house? It was a lady that we heard in the news. She said she went to the hospital. She had
dialysis because she was sick, and basically her neighbor called her and was like, "Look, they're taking your doors off." I'm screaming at them and yelling for them to stop, and they're like, "Oh, you know."
They told her they told the
but they know the police aren't gonna come.
They told the gentleman that they called the police, and,
right.
And they didn't care. They persisted in unscrewing their doors because the lady said she had been broken into so many times in the last month that the insurance company cut her off.
Cut her off, basically. Like we can't insure you anymore.
And then after that point, they stole her doors off her house.
They took the doors. And she's like, "Wait a minute, I have no doors. Like, people can just really walk into my house."
Well, her house was wide open. They took her doors after they sold everything else.
Yep. Took her doors off. And basically said, "We don't care." Like, and they didn't care if they called the police or not because they're not afraid because they know that the police aren't coming. So they feel like, you know what? What's the point?
Who cares? And, I mean, these wasn't crackheads. And, we all understand crackheads. They said these were people 19, 21 years old. And they're stealing doors off.
Taking the doors.
I mean, literally breaking into your house, taking your security bars, and taking to your door. I had a friend that abandoned his house because, as we all know, Detroit housing market is crazy. There's no need to stay in a house that you previously bought and paying the mortgage on. You know, you're going to pay $1,100, $1,200 for a regular city house. 10 years ago, at this point, that your house is only worth $10,000, $15,000. So he left his house. He said he moved half the stuff out the house. He came back. His furnace was gone. I'm not talking about people stealing like the couch that was left over. They stole his furnace. They start stealing the piping.
Yeah.
It was like a free fall. He said he left his house overnight. He locked the door. He moved the majority of stuff out of his house. He came back to get a few other stuff. He came back. His piping was gone. His plumbing was gone. His furnace. I'm talking about overnight. Yeah. And we say that to this point. At what point do the citizens of Detroit, the so-called city council members, the mayor, the local areas, the public officials, the state, the government, the governor,